last night's Major League Baseball, let's put it this way, special night was outstanding.
Celebration.
It was a celebration. It was a remembrance. It was quite the night in Birmingham, Alabama, in the newly refurbished Rickwood Field, right, the stadium there, where the Birmingham Black Barons played for many years in the Negro League, and that's where Willie Mays got his start, professional baseball. And the Giants got him from there, and the rest is history. And on this night where the Cardinals and Giants are playing together, you all know Satchel Paige was there as well, Cardinals and Giants, 2 days after Willie Mays passing away. And beautiful night for baseball. And Fox crushed it. They did. Our friends at Fox Sports just put on an incredible broadcast, soup to nuts, start to finish. And so many players showed up. Past players, Negro League players who are alive and well enough to attend, and Hall of Fame players. And the set for Fox is filled with Hall of Fame players, filled with them. And they had Barry Bonds sitting next to Ken Griffey Jr. and
Barry
Bonds
Bonds
being asked by Jeter how you would be able to face Satchel Paige. And Bonds basically saying that he would homer off him, saying, gone.
Take him deep.
He just said,
Gone.
gone. Is the only word that he said.
It was
right?
like, who would perform better? And Bonds was just like, me, gone.
He was also like, because if I don't believe it, then how can I make it happen?
Right.
You know?
Bonds, obviously, also the godson of Willie Mays, so he's speaking eloquently and emotionally, and Fox did sit-down interviews and had pieces, and then they're open, remembering the Negro Leagues, voiced by Academy Award nominee and show friend, he doesn't mind me saying, Jeffrey Wright, who crushed it. Incredible. And then Reggie Jackson stepped on the set. And what was a remembrance and a celebration turned into a reminder and a history lesson and a time that a lot of folks in our day and age are memory holding. And the fact is that it was a reminder of why there was a Negro League in the first place. And how things didn't go suddenly all peaches and cream and blue skies after the color barrier came crashing down with Jackie Robinson. And how even in this place, which was the site of a celebration and a remembrance and a memorial, is a reminder of a time that was positively awful and is a part of our nation's history that needs to be discussed, because we don't need that to be prologue in any way, shape, or form. And A-Rod asked him, if it wasn't for folks like you, folks like us might not have played baseball. And his answer is well, that wasn't such an honor at the time.
Yeah.
Fresh reminder in parts of our country where this conversation is way too uncomfortable for certain states to even allow it to have a conversation starter in schools, to be very honest on the subject matter here. And there may be some radio stations across our country that are listening to this right now and wondering, why are we talking about this? Because Reggie talked about it. And this is part of our sports history as well as our country's history. And it is ugly, but it doesn't mean that our future is ugly. It doesn't mean that you can't take this information in and understand about how horrible it was and how horrible in certain parts it still may be, and do your part to make it better. And understand the history of our country and how difficult it may be to hear. It is important to hear. And I thought that was incredible. Great television, if you will, for the lack of a better phrase, for the folks there, and to let him speak and not interrupt him, let him talk. and get that off his chest and bring it to the fore on a night where the set he was speaking from had the word tribute on it. Yes, a tribute to the Negro Leagues, but a reminder in this story as to why the Negro Leagues existed and how this was the spot that sent Willie Mays on and Satchel Paige on and Babe Ruth once played at. And yes, that is an important history and a very warm hearth to surround ourselves around in terms of a hagiographic memory about our country and our sports world. But that's another part to it that occurred. Just let me think about the math right here. 17 years after Willie Mays was sent on from Birmingham up to New York City.
Reggie's not even 80 years old. So it wasn't like this was 100 years ago.
No.
When this happened. This is very, very recent.
60 years ago.
How did this hit you when he spoke last night,
well,
TJ?
For me, as I told you guys yesterday, and I've told you, through many conversations, I got to sit at the foot of one of the great storytellers of all time, in my opinion, my grandfather. And as we'd sit in the summertime and I'd read box scores to him out of the Altoona Mirror, he would tell me these stories of Jackie Robinson and Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson and the Negro Leagues. And so for me, I heard this as a little kid and I could never understand. It never made sense to me as a kid because, my best friend who lived down the block, he was a white kid. And so it was hard for me to understand how there was a point in time where he and I wouldn't be allowed to play together because it didn't make sense, So listening to Reggie say this, it just brought back those memories of my grandpa and his friends, like just old school black men who loved the Giants because Jackie Robinson was the first player that they led, or the Dodgers, I'm sorry. He was the first player that was let in. So I got to hear these stories, and it was just kind of brought that back, sitting on the front porch on a summer evening and listening to these men kind of, like we talked about yesterday, being historians of the game, being historians of baseball and telling me this is how the world used to be. This is how baseball used to be. So, and Chris once asked me about 5 years ago, I came in and we were doing this game and he was like, whose career would you rather have, Mike Trout or Willie Mays? And I said, Mike Trout. Chris was like, why? And I was like, well, think about this. 1954, Willie Mays is the MVP. Goes 4 for 5 in the game, hits 2 home runs, probably makes 2 of the greatest catches you'll ever see. And then after the game, he can't eat with his teammates. He can't stay in the same hotel. The guy who never got off the bench can go into these hotels and these restaurants and get served, but Willie couldn't. I was like, I wouldn't want that. And Reggie kind of personified. He explained to you why. And that's why I guess Jackie Robinson was first, right? Because they said he wasn't the best player, but he was the best equipped to handle the type of things that were going to come at him.
And I just wanted to bring that up here to also in this day and age, it's okay to hear this. It's important to hear this. It's okay to hear this, that we shouldn't memory hold this and talk about, going back in time about how great things were. Well, not for everybody. And it's okay to have that conversation. It really is. It's important to hear that on this night. Again, baseball was integrated for players, not front offices. You read up about what happened to the owners of Negro League teams.
Okay.
So it's okay to have this conversation and recall it and make sure that that past doesn't become prologue. And I thought Reggie I texted him, just another heroic moment for Reggie just come out there and go, hell, hold on a second. Yeah, there was a role to play for a lot of us who have played in this stadium, in this city, But playing that role was no picnic, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And when he said that if left to his own devices without help of friends, that he himself would have been left, you could have found him in an oak tree. Man, I literally sat there and in silence for quite some time. And I just wanted to bring that to our audience here today.
Yesterday was powerful. That was an amazing game.
And it was an amazing game as well.
broadcast,
And the stadium looks incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and
makes me want to go visit it, to be honest with you. That's something I have
and
to
I'm
do.
sure that is part of and parcel of what a lot of folks there who put their heart and soul into this night want you to do, to visit that and learn about the history, learn about what happened there, and learn about it and use it for good moving forward. That's what they would like you to do. And then, of course, you know, remember those who played there and what happened. But even in this stadium that got a facelift, Reggie's like pulling back the whole thing and going, nah. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.